In. Am I actually? Okay. We're going to talk about tensioning for cars today. Now, cars is something that I'm using from the functional range conditioning system. And this is where we're talking about controlled articular rotations. And one of the key mechanisms for finding some real utility with this tool is going to be creating tension in your body. If you don't tension appropriately, you can't adjust the intensity. You don't have a good measure of that intensity. And another reason would be you're likely not going to be doing these controlled articular rotations appropriately. You're just going to be doing random joint circles. So I've been implementing these a lot over the course of our mobility program and all that kind of jazz. And one place to start is just going through a little checklist with yourself before you perform it. So what I like to do is basically just stand right underneath, with my feet right underneath my hips, and just practice creating tension in my body. And the first thing I'm going to do is just stand with my feet underneath my hip. I'm just going to hold my arms out to the side, and I'm going to take a breath in through my nose that's going to fill up my belly. So I'm just going to breathe in, and then I'm going to push out with some tension. That 360 degrees all the way around this trunk, this core musculature. And then I'm going to take this tension, I'm going to push it up into my neck. And then from here, I'm going to push it out into my arm. And everything is going to start to lock out my elbow. I'm going to feed that tension into my hand. I like to splay the fingers out. And then I'm going to feed this all the way through my other arm, and then send it back into my core, holding that tension, locking the knees out, squeezing the butt cheeks, and just contracting the body. And then from there, I'm just going to release that tension. Now, we can go through different grades of tension to create different grades of intensity. So if you think of the tension in your body as a little bit of a thermostat that you can crank up, we want to think of it when we do our level 1, let's crank it up to about like a 3 out of 10. When we do our level 2 stuff, those 10-second rotations, we're starting to slow things down, crank it up to like a 6 out of 10. And then if you want a real strength stimulus, a real hard, heavier intensity, you can crank that up to an 8 or more out of 10. And you can think of this even just as simple as, what is a radiating tension? Put your fist together, squeeze it a little bit, squeeze it harder, squeeze it harder, squeeze it harder, squeeze it harder, and get everything just to jack up to feel that tension. That'll solidify the body. It'll force a lot more control into the joint we're trying to move around. And all around, you're going to be doing them a lot better than if you don't do this. So give it a go, tension your body. Come on down to figure out a little bit more about how these are brought through in the mobility class, and we'll do the rest together.